sent photos of himself recalling all sex on another man is something he thought was good to me. And like so many of the other men who ultimately... Okay, guys, so here I am. First, let me apologize if you hear sound in the background. We're also watching TV. So, I am about to, for the first time, try my Atlas 150 pasta maker. You guys saw me try the emerald thing. Let's hope this goes better than that. So today's menu actually consists of, you want to get your cutter. Today's menu actually consists of Philly cheesesteak subs and Philly cheesesteak pasta. Alright? Now I have a really good, nice hunk of dough. I made the dough yesterday. And I still need my roller, which I couldn't find yesterday. And it just occurred to me because I got to roll these first before I put them through the machine. So, I'll be back in a sec. 1 minute. Okay, so I'm back. And by the way, what we're watching, if you're interested, is Chris Hansen to Catch a Predator. That's just one of the best shows. It never gets old. It's hilarious. It's also disturbing because now I sound crazy. But it is pretty funny. Not from what's going on. Like, it's never funny for child predators to be out here being gross. But it is pretty funny how he handles them on the show. But I don't want to let him know Chris Hansen did my ABC just yet.
Are they like really predators?
Yeah, they're really predators. My daughter's like, are they really predators? Yes, ma'am. I'm really not even sure why I'm rolling this out so soon. I really probably should have done this because I don't have a hanging rack yet. One of my daughters asked me yesterday what I wanted for my birthday, and I told her to go to my Amazon list. I should have been more specific. I just didn't really want like the Amazon rack as a Mother's Day. I mean, the hanging rack as a Mother's Day present. But now I'm like, it could have worked.
You said your birthday because they're so close.
And I said birthday, yeah, because this year they're pretty close. Usually Mother's Day falls on my grandmother's birthday. But this year, for some reason, it's a little closer. So what we're going to do first, we're just going to give it a try run. I also really didn't want to make pasta with this thing until I got the, until I got another work table. Let's see what we can do here, y'all. Wish me luck. This still seems kind of still... I probably need to get it just a little thinner to try to feed it through there. I've seen people get it thicker, but I'm not sure yet. It's my first time using it, so bear with. So this is like our experiment time together right now. So we're going to see what happens here. Huh? Alright, we got a fold. That's the first thing we didn't want to happen on the end. I need to center it better. So let's center it better first and foremost. And then let's see if we can get it to go back through. And I'm going to lay it like this. And I'm just going to crank. And I think it'll be better off of this. Whoop! Don't want it to go backwards though. So you just kind of want to guide it with your hand as it goes through. If you ever see anyone use one of these, you know you got to send it through more than once. So this is the first time it's going through. And I have it came with a clamp too, by the way, guys. I just don't have another table yet to clamp it to, but I'm working on that. So you put it through for the first time. And now we're gonna turn it this way though, just so that nothing gets dirty. That would be gross. We'll turn it around. And actually, something I forgot to do. So we'll go back through one more time like this. Then we're gonna adjust it to get it thinner. Alright. So right now, this is the thickness we're at. You can see your hands through it, but it's not as thin as I want it to make pasta. So, if you push in right here, actually pull out and then push in, you can adjust how thin it is. Nah, I think we're going to go down one. Maybe not. That might be too thin because I don't want it to overcook quickly. So, We're going to go back in here. Only if we didn't show the video from the house, didn't show his face, or identify what he did. Lay it on there. In this investigation, and this is where we're starting to thin it out even more. These guys walked away. We did, however. Really need a table to clamp it to. If you can get a table to clamp it to, that's what I suggest. Alright, so let's see what we got this time. We're getting there. We're definitely getting there. Let me look at the thickness. I can see my hand behind it, which is cool and everything, right? But I think I want to go just one more thinner. I really want them to be like this really nice silky texture. So I'm going to go down one more. Now, if you were making lasagna, you could leave them in sheets like this and cut the pieces. I am not making lasagna, so I'm going to end up putting them through a cutter also. Now we're getting exactly as thin as I want. Let me tell you something though. The next time I make lasagna, it's going to be so good. I know it is because I'm going to have this lovely machine right here to help me make some of the best, freshest lasagna noodles one could ever imagine. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do a couple more of these, but I'm going to flour them too so they don't stick together. I'm not ready to cut them into the other type of pasta yet. We're going to do that closer to the end of what we're doing. But just look at that. Definitely need a work table though, if you can get one, because it's going to just keep getting longer and longer and longer. So this is cool though. I like it. I got two machines that'll do it for me the quick, like, electronic way. But I actually think I like this because you have more control, I think, when you're doing it yourself. So I'll be back in a few. Okay, so I'm back. Turn this down just a little bit. Still watching Chris Hansen. Anyway, so I explained earlier that I'm making cheesesteak subs and cheesesteak pasta. I already rolled out the pasta, which is why you see flour everywhere. And I bought some steaks that were already thin. But these, I'm going to try to make them just a little thinner. So we're just going to pound them out with your meat tenderizer mouth. You might not need this much steak. I need this much because I'm making both cheesesteak pasta and cheesesteak. And move this too, just in case. See where I can put it, guys. I'm running out of space a lot here lately. Alright, I think it's pretty stable where I put it. Hopefully it doesn't fall or slide or anything. Just don't want to cross-contaminate anything. So we're just going to pound these down so they get nice and thin. So that we'll have thinner steak on our sandwiches and a nice thinner steak in our pasta. I got the cheese melting. I already rolled out the pasta into the pieces that it's going to be in. However, I am still going to end up putting them back through the Atlas 150 in order to get the shape of the pasta that I want to use for the pasta. So for now, he's going to tenderize, and pound out your meat. I wasn't really in the mood to do a video today. So that's why you won't see as many steps as you normally do, but I am trying to just show you some of what I'm doing. Pounding it out. Alright. Got it a little thinner there. And I'm sure it's more tender if nothing else. Also, what I'm going to do is cut off these little fat areas. You want to leave some of the fat in for flavor, but the tough fat areas, you're going to cut those out. So I'm going to be doing that. But I'm just going to get through this first pack of pounding because I got a lot of packs, as you can see there. And then I'm going to turn the camera off and just keep going. Now my neighbors, every time I do this, they're probably like, what in the actual hell is she doing upstairs? Okay, pounding out meat, guys. Pounding out meat. Okay. And this one last one before I cut the camera off. And just concentrate on what I'm doing. And I'm going to be cooking these on top of the stove griddle. I am not a fan of thin steak, but on a sandwich it's kind of neat. Alright, so that's what we're doing, and I'll be back in a bit. Alright, so these are all the different steaks, a lot of them, right, pounded down thin, that we're going to use to make our cheesesteaks and our cheesesteak pasta. Just want to show you what it looked like. Got them all to just about the same consistency. I wouldn't say they're perfectly the same consistency, but for the most part they are. And then we already had some that are thin that we bought that way, so we didn't need to do anything to those, and those are in the kitchen. But this is what we're using today. Alright, so we're back. And we're going to see how this now goes. Pretty, close that door, please. Now it's time to see how making these noodles actually turns out. Hopefully it turns out good. That's what we're going for it to turn out good. Just making sure that the sheets that we rolled aren't sticking together too badly. Maybe I should have put more flour, but we're going to see. See, we got some stickiness right here. But when that happens, if it happens, like I'm seeing did happen here, you can easily fix it, even though it's a pain in the ass, by doing this right here. Roll it again and make it all one sheet. This is a pain in the ass. I'm not saying it's not, but this is what has to happen right now since they stuck together. Sorry, y'all. We're going to roll it one time through here, get us a single sheet, and then we're going to go ahead and cut it into the type of pasta we want it to be. Alright, so we did that. You might have some that's not perfect, but this is just me home cooking. Trust me, if I was cooking for someone else, I'd care a little more. But like I said, this is just me cooking for home. And cut the two sheets in half so it's easier to manage. Slide this back. I've got to get the bracket so I can actually hook this thing to a table, because this is a pain in the butt. It kind of has to be off the edge so that you can wheel. Unless you elevate it on something, I guess I could do that. But at any rate, let's get to it. Alright. So we're going to do the same process, only got to put my crank in a different location. And this way it's going to come out back here. So I'm going to try to turn it. Oh, I need a table so badly right now. Sorry, I had to step away to sneeze there. It's just be real funky. We're getting there. We are getting there, folks. Just going to pull them out with your hand. Lay them down. Hold it with your hand. Going, keep going, keep going, keep putting it through. Catch any that have broken off. Some of them may stick together just to run your hand through like I just did there.
kind of going to lay these down. We're going to pull them apart if we can. We're going to get some flour in them to keep them from sticking to each other, hopefully. Just separate them if you need to, like I'm doing right now. Of course, you would prefer not to do this. I'm not sure why some of them did this and didn't like cut in half like they're supposed to. But it's not a big deal. Just fix it yourself. Again, you know. Toss around in the flour, hopefully to help them from sticking to each other. Alright, cut this last little bit through, and then we'll go on to the next row. You need to throw just a little flour on there to keep them from sticking. Do so, mix them up. Alright, just like that. Alright, so I'll be back in a bit. I'm going to continue cranking these out so I can get them in the water. These only need to be in the water a super short amount of time, probably even less than a minute, because they're fresh. They're not dry. So yeah, be back in a bit. So here we have it. Have the fresh pasta all rolled out. Today I used my Atlas 150. This is the pasta that's going to go with the Philly cheesesteak pasta part of the meal. And in about 30 minutes, I think I'm going to finally start grilling all the steak for the sandwiches and for the pasta. Right now I'm waiting for water to boil, because one thing about fresh pasta, you need to get it in some water right away. So I'm hoping this water will take long, because I don't want these two to decide to stick to each other. I floured them up pretty good, but still. Alright, so I'll be back in a bit. Alright, y'all. So while y'all were away, and my bad, because I should have been showing y'all way more steps than y'all had been shown. The pasta noodles got finished. They're just sitting aside now, waiting me. And when I say finished, they've been boiled and all that good stuff. This is the meat that's going to go on our cheesesteak. Now, this cheesesteak is real steak. This isn't, not saying the other meat that is often used is not also real steak. It is, but these are like really nice different cuts of steak. In some restaurants they call this a steak and cheese instead of a cheesesteak, just because it's more like the actual steak. So I just wanted to show you how we do this. Make sure your griddle's nice and hot. And you wonder why I got sleeves on. I started out coming out sleeves. Now I understand why my grandmom did it. It's so I don't get caught by hot grease the whole time I'm cooking. So just salt and Sazon is the only thing I'm putting on each one of these pieces. Salt and Sazon. We're going to let it brown on the side it's on now, then we're going to flip it over. But we'll show you what's in here so far. This is where I'm putting it. You can still see the juice, so it's nice and juicy. And I'm cutting it into small strips after it sizzles and sears. While it's searing, I'm chopping it up into smaller pieces. I cannot wait for y'all to see both of these dishes, and once they're done, this is a hard one for me. I did not wake up in the mood at all to do none of this, but I was like, look, my family's got to eat, and I need the content. So this is what we're doing. So show you real quick. Just real quick, you got the sear on one side. You're going to sear the other side like so. And you're going to grab your blade. And this is when we're just going to start cutting. You still want to cut across the grain. Normally you rest your meat to keep your juices in it, right? But because of how this sandwich is being served, and we want these little strips little, and we want them to really caramelize while we got them on here, we're going to just keep cutting them up like this. And we'll show you what they look like. You see them, and we're going to toss them around. Alright? So I'll be back in a bit. Alright, I keep forgetting to show y'all stuff. Well, you saw me starting the steak. You know how you do that. I chopped them all up. I did a shit ton of steak. That's why I'm just coming back and almost forgot. So now we're sauteing the mushrooms. And we are sweating down our peppers and onions. And I know y'all are like, well, most people make it when they make the sandwich. True. That is very true. And most people do the cheese that way too. However, in my house, because there are so many different varying methods of how people want to eat their sandwich, I'm doing things like this. And plus, because we're going to need some mushrooms to go on the Philly steak pasta also. So it's just easier for me to do it this way. Just going to give them a couple more minutes. The mushrooms will take longer because you want to get like as much of this water out as you can. The mushrooms are going to take a lot longer to get to the type of doneness I want them to than these vegetables are. I'll be able to take these off in just a couple of minutes. But just wanted to show you how this is going. And you can see here, cast iron. Cast iron has been the star of the show today. Alright, so I'll be back in a bit. So I'm straighten up some of my mess too because it's getting a bit outrageous here in the kitchen. I'll be back. Okay guys, so just showing you what we did here. Instead of mixing my provolone in with the meat, I mix it in with the mushrooms. Because like I said, some people in my house don't eat mushrooms, peppers, all that stuff. So I do not melt it in with the meat like you usually do. But we got that there. And we're browning the last roll. I browned 2 other rolls a few minutes ago. I don't know if I showed it to you or not, but they were larger. The smaller one here is my daughter's. And so I am definitely about to move on to making sandwiches. I always keep extra provolone and extra mozzarella just in case this ends up not being enough to suit someone's fancy. And that's kind of how you can handle things in that regard. Get that just a little browner, not too much browner. Continue letting that get nice and gushy, oozy over there. And I'm going to wrap up the rest of these smaller sub rolls that are my daughter's so we can put these away. And I'll be back in a few minutes to show y'all a sub in the making. I'm going to show y'all well, I might not be able to show it to you in the making because, well, yeah, actually I can because I did cut it in half. I was going to say because it's going to be kind of complicated because it's 2 halves of the same sandwich made differently. But actually, no, I cut it in half. So all good. I'll be back in a few minutes. So let me lower you guys down. And in the interest of time, I probably am just going to show you, this one. I think you seeing me make one is sufficient enough. So, bring it in, bring it down just a little more. I'm trying to give y'all a good view. So you can see the steak, the provolone, the mushrooms. Now what we're going to do, and yes, my hands are clean, and make sure yours are too when you do this. We're going to put the peppers on. And the onion, just like that. You can give it a nice little mash down. And now I need a spoon. I'm always like sort of prepared, but not really. Hold on one second. So the differences in these will be, because this is my partner sandwich. And so his is going to get ketchup and these banana peppers that are like mild. Mine, of course, is going to get this, the more spicy relish, and these. So you got that. And then the last thing that's going to go on here. Some people who eat cheesesteaks do not do this. Me, I believe in it. You can put mayo on a cheesesteak too. I don't like mayo enough to do that. You can put Miracle Whip in the place of it. But what my partner likes more than anything in the world, let me move this back a little bit better so you can see what my partner really likes is ketchup. So let me find it real quick. A few minutes ago I was like, I should already have my ketchup out. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh.
I got it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't have regular ketchup. I don't think, and if I do, it's over. Alright, so we have sriracha ketchup. It's not regular ketchup, but it's good. Put a nice dose of that on there, just like so. Alright, so I'm going to take this off. I'm going to get a pick, and I'm also going to give y'all a close-up view of this sandwich before I close it. So as promised, the close-up version of my Philly cheesesteak, or we might as well call this thing Philly cheese steak. Emphasis on the steak, because this is not just that thin steak. This is several different kinds of steak cooked with love, caramelized onions and sweet peppers, mild banana peppers, sriracha ketchup, and tomato. You ready to take a pic and close her up and serve her. Okay, guys, and before I get a chance to actually make my plate, here we have the fresh pasta I made mixed with cheese, so it kind of ended up tasting like macaroni and cheese. It also made the length of the noodles much shorter, trying to stir that cheese in. But this is the Philly cheesesteak pasta. Of course, you can put more au jus on it from the steak. You can put more, you know what's missing. Hold on, be right back. So here we have it. We have gotten these lovely mushrooms. I don't know why it's so dark in here today. Try to get better lighting real quick. There we go. On top of that bed of fresh pasta that I made. The pasta is infused with a cheese and cream sauce. Then you've got the steak, the sauteed mushrooms, the sauteed peppers, and the sauteed onions, and 2 little dabs of sriracha ketchup if you just want to dip some of your steak in it. Voila.